check this. All right, data's being sent. Streaming. Looks good. Looking at the wrong thing here.
Coming to you live from deep within a sophomoric yet puritanical, a self-righteous yet self-loathing wasteland. We are the survivors of the alt-right apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bippy.
The Bippy.
You bet your sweet Bippy.
You bet your sweet Bippy. We're the few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the froggy lobster shaggy hordes with Rantzerker number 164. Velma invades our waking nightmares. For real this time.
Ugh.
And yet another Scooby-Doo reboot because we just can't get enough of them for some reason. Yeah, I decided to switch it up. Not the Bippy part, but the
title.
This defies belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's okay. That's okay. You can, maybe what you should do is like pre-record the intro and just play it. Maybe with some like intense music behind it.
Yeah, but then people would be thrown a loop. They'd be like, "Is this the real deal?" Without the mistakes and the technical difficulties and the coughing on mic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know. I mean, if our production quality suddenly increased, they would probably assume we'd been taken over by the Illuminati or the lizard people.
Or Bill Gates.
Yes, we'd have to refer to each other as like
both. He's both of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say
lizard. Oh, thank you, Lizard Karen. And we have no problem eating the bugs. In fact, I'm eating a bowl of fat mealworms as we speak.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for McDonald's to bring back the McBug.
The McBug.
Yeah. They need to bring it back. They'll bring it back once a year and then discontinue it to drive up demand.
Get people thinking of it like the
McRib.
Yeah, like the McRib.
Yeah, the McRib.
Which is disgusting, by the way. I don't understand,
But is it made of bugs?
No, it's made out of like mechanically separated pork.
Okay.
That's kind of like Spam, right? And then they add some gelatin to it, and then they stick it in like in a mold to shape it into like a rib, like.
And they squeeze it through like a pastry, like a icing thing, to make it look vaguely.
Yeah, no, it's.
I wonder if you could make like a icing out of that.
Oh, God.
You could put it in one of those pastry bags and just squeeze it.
Have a good day at work, Sam. Be careful, it's icy underneath the snow.
I know that's a really weird image.
Oh, yeah, no, you could. For your dog's birthday.
Oh, yeah, that would work. Yeah, exactly. You can make a nice little Fido treat for your dog's birthday.
Yeah, no, make a cake. Make it out of like meatloaf. Keep the garlic and onions out of it. Right?
Yeah,
and then pull blended McRib patties for the filling and the icing.
The frosting, yeah, just
McRib pate.
Okay, that's
You could maybe even make a McRib ganache. Make it real nice.
Ryan, you sound a little like my dog when I'm doing something he doesn't approve of.
Mm.
He sounds like Marge
Like-
Simpson.
Okay, but Brian, let's just think about this for a second. Is it worse to listen to us talk about creating dog birthday cake out of pulverized
Okay.
McRib frosting, or Velma?
No, I mean, I think
Velma. That's why
Velma is
we're
easily worse.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm dragging out the conversation about the McRib pate.
I just
Frosting.
don't. I don't want to think about the possibility that my dog, may have to eat that. I don't know, because
No, he'd probably love it.
Oh,
we got coyotes
he
here.
would love it.
But
I think it would make him sick.
We've got coyotes here. Okay,
Mhm.
and they like to come into our yard because I think they're still in love with my dog.
Mhm.
Okay, and with Kevin. And so, they roll around in the place where the dogs poop, and then they poop there. And then our dogs go out and sometimes come in chewing what looks suspiciously like coyote poop.
Mm.
And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So I don't think the McRib pate or ice frosting would make your dog sick. I really don't think so.
It's generally a step up from, like, I was really worried about getting these. I read all this stuff about how dogs die from chewing on bones, so I was worried about giving him like store-bought bones, and then he would go out on a trip and he'd just
eat whatever,
inhale a rabbit spine.
Yeah,
it's like.
Well, those are small pieces, right? All the cartilage is gonna break down, and
still supposedly the type of thing that just, if the dog eats a chicken bone, it will die. And
because they splinter and then they perforate the intestines.
Okay.
It depends on the animal.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of bone. Don't give your dog ham bones. If your dog has any kind of power in their jaws, they will chew a ham bone into splinters, and then they'll swallow the splinters. But beef femur works pretty good. And also beef rib bones, as long as they're not overcooked.
Beef knuckle is good too.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
If you can score a beef knuckle, they will love you forever, and they'll be chewing on it for days. So that'll get them out of your hair.
They'll break pieces off of it, but the pieces will be small, as opposed to large, long splinters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's very good information to know. I just want to remind everybody that we are doing our monthly fundraiser. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out to make sure we can cover our expenses for the month. We are at, I think, 25% at this point. So that's pretty good for this time of the month, really. Usually everybody waits the last 3 days, and we have like 5 days left. So, so once again, that's feedthebadger.com/support. We have 3,520 left to go. So a little bit of ways, but like I said, guys, whatever you can do will be very appreciated and help. Every $5, the last $5 that gets us over the line. So don't think that if you feel like your contribution is modest, that it isn't helping. It is. So just spend the time to go to feedthebadger.com/support. And I will do some arm wringing once we get to half an hour into the show. I won't say half an hour after the hour, because we did have some technical difficulties with figuring out how to show you this wonderful piece of cinema. This delightful.
Why are you? I have read somewhat about this, and I don't know why you want to torture me like this.
Because
why did you choose me?
You just answered your own question, Karen.
Oh my god! You always hated me.
But actually, also the deep lore around the Velma creator, Mindy, is fascinating as well. And by fascinating, I mean gut-churningly disgusting and terrifying.
Deep lore?
There's gut-churningly disgusting and terrifying. You're talking to somebody who routinely watches videos of people, doctors lancing boils and shit.
Lore around the Velma creator, Mindy,
this is less on the level
and
of
by fascinating, I mean
physically disgusting and more psychologically disgusting,
because she has basically confessed to, and I would normally say that if it's a situation where somebody kisses another person and then they realize it was not wanted and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I was reading the situation wrong, or I was just improvising and it came over me, or somehow was apologetic. But no, not Mindy. Mindy just makes threats so that people won't reveal the fact what she just did. So she's a pretty repulsive human being.
Ew.
Yes. Yeah, you see, you said ew. Ew. That is exactly, she's gross.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had some unwanted kisses in my life. But, as long as you just say no thanks, and then they're like, oh, sorry. I misread the room, right? And then basically what? Then,
okay, well, sorry, I wanted to let you continue, but I'm like an autist, so I'm always just like, I gotta get in there. There's a sliver of room. Gotta get my opinion out there.
Me too. That's yeah.
So I see a crack of light. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
But, no, what she essentially did was she was on a set of one of her unwatchable crap. And ironically, it was with Lee Pace. And you guys have been listening to me for any length of time. Lee Pace is one of my favorite actors. And they were doing this scene on the bed, and she apparently just kissed him. It wasn't in the script. She's just improvising it. She's going at length about how hot and attractive he is and all of that shit. And he didn't react well, which I'm not surprised, because Lee Pace's personality is not is a lot more reserved than you would expect a Hollywood actor to be. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to take people going really weird very well.
Mm-hmm. Don't go off script. Do not go off script with me. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not like a nasty guy. He's just agitated.
I want to know what to expect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember one scene where a fan came up to him and talked about his eyebrows, they'd named his eyebrows, and he was just edging away from her and going, "What?" It was so adorable.
His hands held up in plain sight, stepping away while not maintaining eye contact.
Just
pushing his friend forward, he encountered a hungry Bengal tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, so he just doesn't he doesn't seem to have that kind of quality of, and I don't want to say rolling for the punches, and nor should he have to. But anyway, so she did this improvised kiss. Of course, doesn't give a crap about the kind of person he is, whether or not he would be the kind of, to be able to roll with it. Yeah. Also says something about he was talking, but who cares what he was saying. Really objectifying. I mean, at this point, it is genuine objectification when you don't give a shit about their personality. You literally say, I don't care what he's saying. And you also just 100% just focus on their physical appearance. And then she kisses him. He has a bad reaction. I've seen the photo of it. It's similar to it's actually might even be worse than the reaction to the fan with your eyebrows. He's just get me away. That kind of reaction.
Yeah, what the fuck just happened there?
What the fuck just happened there? And afterward, her, I guess, assistants or the other people behind the camera, not necessarily the cameraman, came up to her and said, you realize we could be sued for that. And she essentially said, well, if you tell anyone, I'll fire you. And she revealed all of this stuff. And maybe she was just trying to play it off as comedy. At no point did she indicate that she was oh, I'm sorry. I just, I just wanted to improvise something. I thought it would be cute or funny, At no point did she make any indication that she understood that Lee Pace existed as a person, separate from her own vaginal spasmodic needs. You know, like that's
slimy secretions. Yeah.
Yeah. No point did she recognize that he existed as his own person with his own perception that, you know, you might want. And like I said, if she had done this and she said, "Oh, I improvised. Sorry, I went too far," and apologized for it, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
But she doubled down. She ignored his discomfort, and then she threatened other people if they said they would tell anyone. And then she played it off all as a joke. Like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And it's I don't like, could you imagine a male actor? I'm pretty sure that would be an instant Me Too.
Oh God, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like Lou Pascoe.
It
like,
literally was an instant Me Too with that freaking porn star. I forget what his name was. Right? But he was like this kind of like Ryan Reynolds looking freaking porn star dude, you know. Looks unassuming, giant dick, right? And they're in between scenes and he's trying to stay fluffed and they're fooling around. And then she comes out and she's like, he went beyond my boundaries when we were fluffing. And I'm like, you literally take it up the ass from this guy when the camera's running.
Who is this?
Don't you remember? It was a big, huge freaking thing.
Whoa. What's the...
Sorry, my phone was ringing. Okay, no, I wasn't.
What the hell kind of ringtone is that?
Jesus, is that like the ringtone opening up to the 7th level of hell, Brian?
No,
yeah, no,
was that your incoming call for Mephistopheles?
Mephistopheles? No, it was. It's the ringtone he has assigned to his mother-in-law. Yeah. I bet.
That's good. Yeah. All right, continue. Whoever was on the floor.
Well, it was Karen or you talking about...
Oh, no, you were asking who...
Yeah, I was asking about the porn star. I wanted to make sure that I was thinking of the same guy. But yeah, I know you are now, so...
Yeah. He looks a little bit kind of, sort of, like Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, you know, sort of one of those guys who's like cute, but not hyper masculine. And
what was he allegedly responsible for doing?
I don't frickin' know, but she was just like in between scenes, he did some things, and I didn't agree to them. And it's like, you've just done a whole bunch of the exact same shit, and we're about to do more of that shit in front of the camera, right? And I'm just like, it seems a little bit, you know, like, well, I don't know. I think his name was like James Dean, wasn't it?
But anyway, the point is that he was instantly canceled, right?
Oh, he was like smeared everywhere, yeah. You know, and nobody actually really had any evidence that this happened.
Anything. So it was just basically an allegation. And of course, this is a confession and probably also visual evidence as well. And nobody, like in the mainstream, it's never going to. All of these the not-for-profits, but yet surprisingly have incredibly huge salaries. All of these organizations about sexual violence, they're not going to touch it. No. They don't care. Mm-hmm. And the hypocrisy continues. There's some more deep lore, but we should probably start.
Yeah, let's just get to the freaking torture, the nightmare fuel, okay?
Before I add more to it, more fuel to the fire. Okay, I believe I have control over the play.
Yeah.
I will try to stop when you... I'm probably going to give it less than 20 seconds because I'm sure that they are watching this like a hawk. Mm-hmm. I've also done a series of distortions on the visual images, but I don't know if that helps as much.
She's messed with the color, so you've changed the colors around. And yeah, so I think we'll be okay.
Okay, let's see if I can. All right, here we go. Ready, guys? Ready your ass cheeks.
Prepare your anus.
My name is Velma Dinkley, and this is my origin story. Sure. Normally, origin stories are about tall, handsome guys struggling with the burden of being handed even more power.
Really?
Oof.
Really?
Right out the gate. Yep, that's where she going. Yeah, well, you know.
Okay, but you should probably turn the volume up on the video because it's really quiet compared to us.
Is it?
Or at least for me. For me, it's really quiet compared to you guys.
You got to do it. You got to do it inside of OBS. So find where the video is. Right click on it. I mean Discord. Yeah. Yeah. Find where the video is. Right click on the video that's being shared, and then bump up the volume. Those of you guys who are watching, is that video loud enough or what?
Yeah, give us an indication.
Yeah, let us know how it sounds.
We had to actually jury rig this a bit for reasons we don't know. Like I think
it's actually jerry rig. Jury rig. Yeah, jury rigging is when you like pick your jurors and rig the jury for a trial. Jerry rigging is when you use duct tape and a tomato soup can to fix your muffler.
Yeah, that's basically our technological infrastructure here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So yeah, they're saying that the volume of the video is fine on their end. So yeah, this is.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Karen, just right click on the live show.
It's all fine.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, let's do this. All right. I don't think she understands the nature of origin stories. Like she's struggling with
the origin story of every woman who ever did anything worthwhile has to begin with a story of being having to defeat the patriarchal forces trying to suppress her and keep her down and keep her from succeeding. That's basically what she's saying.
Okay, so basically the origin stories of women have to be about being a victim of something. And the origin stories of men have to be about taking responsibility for something. Because she sort of admits that. I wanted to discuss that specific thing. She's saying the origin stories are a handsome man, a tall, handsome man, dealing with more privilege or more power. Getting more power.
Unearned power, not taking responsibility for things, but claiming that they were responsible for, things that they were not responsible for, like curing cancer or, inventing the light bulb or whatever, right? That like this is what it's like. Basically, if you're a man, your origin story involves you getting unearned credit for everything you do or don't do and just choose to take credit for, probably from a more deserving woman who actually did all the elbow grease kind of work. And a woman's origin story always revolves around, trying to make it in a man's world while the men are always trying to hold you down and stop you from succeeding. And when they can't, they're going to jump in there and steal all your kudos and take credit for your work. Is that
is. I don't think that's what she's specifically saying here. I think that is a facet of it. If you expand the kaleidoscope out to the greater feminist rubric, is rubric the right word? Well, anyway, so what she's saying here is she's talking about things like Spider-Man, right? The origin story of Spider-Man, where he gets bitten by a radioactive spider.
Oh yeah, no, it was just
more
luck.
Powers.
It was just luck.
Yeah, he didn't prove himself worthy of it. And she's saying, well, it's the origin story of a man who's tall and handsome, who already is powerful, according to her, who gets more power. So the joke is that they get more power. But here's the thing that they already have. Here's the thing. The origin story is almost invariably also a story of taking responsibility for that power. And that's what she completely omits, which incidentally, we might as well just cut with the formalities and call Velma Mindy, because this is her self-insert. Like literally, this is her self-insert.
It is.
So Mindy watches the origin stories of these male heroes and fails to notice that inevitably they revolve around one important thing: taking responsibility. And in many cases, as the story of the hero progresses, for example, Tony Stark, they also start to revolve around the negatives of being someone who takes responsibility too much or thinks that they can make decisions for others. Okay, so all of these hero stories, origins, are about taking responsibility, trying to use that power in a responsible way. And I find that really freaking interesting that she's just completely ignored that. I don't know. Like, I think it's a rather critical factor.
I don't think it's uncommon with women to fantasize about having power
and no responsibility,
and the ability to use it in whatever way they want, which often results in, you know, something petty or, you know, that's just for them. And
it's hard not to.
Go ahead.
I mean, there is like a deeper social commentary that could be explored here, right? In terms of, you know, this is one of those things, right? And I'm fairly conservative and I'm fairly capitalist, right? You know, like I lean that way more and more, you know, as I get older and see, you know, explore the alternatives. But okay, what I find is you do often have people who were born into privilege, both men and women, okay, who they want to promote this idea that they made it on their own. Dad never made a phone call for them. And like it's exemplified by what my husband and I call the giant wall of nepotism at the University of Alberta. In the end, like as you walk into the engineering building, there is this basically a family tree of legacy graduates. So, you know, back, you know, when the university was founded, this person graduated as he was an engineer, and then here are his children who did, and here are his grandchildren who did, and here are his great grandchildren who did, you know, and they all became engineers and they all were very, very successful, right? And it's like every single one of those descendants wants to promote a myth that they got there on their own, that they did not inherit some kind of legacy privilege from their very important parent who, you know, was an engineer, who was trained at the U of A, became a professor, right, got into industry, rose in the ranks, and could make phone calls on their behalf to get them situated very nicely. Nobody wants to admit that that happens, right? But they will memorialize it on a giant frickin' family tree right as you enter the building, right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm sorry, but like this kind of, you know, you didn't quite earn it, or you didn't earn it the way you want people to think you did, right? That does exist. And the fact that there are people who don't have any family connections, they don't have anyone making phone calls for them, maybe they don't fit in personality-wise or physically. You know, everybody looks at it, you think about an engineer, and you're thinking about, you know, some wiry little guy who, you know, he's got glasses, he doesn't have a biker beard, he's not 6'4", he's not the kind of person you'd expect to see in a dive bar, holding his own in a bar fight, right? Like this is the image that, and if you don't fit that image, you have to really go above and beyond. So I mean, like, there is something to this. I just don't think it's gendered. I don't think it's gendered at all. Maybe it used to be way back in the beginning, right? Way back in the days of Marie Curie and, you know, and the first female MPs in Canada and what have you, right? Maybe that existed. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, even when that existed, there was also a very, very strong expectation that women or men use whatever privilege that they get in terms of developing themselves as breadwinners to benefit their
women, their wives, their daughters, their sisters, their mothers, all their female kin.
Yeah, and this was a scenario. This isn't a situation where most jobs still had an element of risk and physical toil, even more white collar jobs. But that's that. I mean, people don't take into account that context.
No,
and how much pressure and social power women had in that context to demand that their male relatives be men for them or their husbands be men for them. Like I was just recently watching a documentary on Hemingway. And of course, there's this huge question, did Hemingway not like women? And I'm like, I mean, even if he didn't always like women, who cares? That's his prerogative. I don't think that makes him less of a good writer or less of a decent person, although he may not have been particularly decent. But what was interesting is that both his first love, who absolutely tore his heart out, and his mother referred to him needing to develop his manhood, which was essentially stop whining, stop expecting stuff from me, and start going out and becoming performing. So there was this huge pressure put on women, by women, on men to perform in these spheres where they were expected to earn and then come back and give them the fruits of that earning. So, I mean, this wasn't just like one-sided. And I can imagine that men who have this pressure to be expected to succeed in these spheres by their womenfolk at home who are expecting to be benefited by that success that they have, and legally and socially expected to be benefited by it, because the legal expectations that men take care of not just their wives but all their female relatives were a lot stronger in the past. That men watching women come into the sphere that gives them any amount of value with their womenfolk in their life might have been quite stressful.
Yeah.
If you imagine it. It's like, we have to simultaneously be the only ones who have to earn our actual human worth through these endeavors and give you who do not access to them.
Yeah, no, it's like that, like what was said, oh God, I forget what the article was called, but it was about female tradesmen, right? All the way back to like the 1400s, right? And they were like, okay, so there were actually female master blacksmiths in London in 1432, on the roster of, the guild, right? And one of the things that the article noted was, women were never actually banned from the trades. Learning to be a tradesperson was a long, arduous, difficult, sometimes dangerous process, especially when you had journeyman status and you actually had to travel all over the place to new communities and set up shop for a time and, repair pots and pans or whatever, and then move on roads that are not always safe. This is ancient times, really, compared to what things are now. And so very few women took that route. A woman could inherit her husband's master status when he died, because she would be understood as having learned the trade, and then she could hire apprentices and train them and stuff, right? But so she had this kind of shortcut into marry a tradesman, and then when he dies, you'll basically be assumed to be qualified to become a master tradesman. But one of the things that the article mentioned was that the only time that the guilds started to really discourage women women's inclusion in any way or object to it was when work was scarce. That was when they were just like, well, these women don't belong here, right? And it's because women were only responsible for themselves, and men were responsible for many other people. And so the social pressure, the resentment, of a woman taking a job from you was pretty extreme, right?
Well, not just that. Imagine the men's female relatives.
Yeah.
Like you give a job to a woman, she takes care of herself, maybe her children. You give a job to a man, he's taking care of his wife, his children, his unmarried sisters, his spinster aunts, his widowed mother. You know, he's taking care of like a couple dozen women. One man. Or you
maybe,
give the job
maybe not that many, but
in some cases, like if he's the patriarch of a large family, he would be.
Yeah.
But most cases, he is probably taking care of his wife, his daughters, and his underage sons, and also maybe a widowed mother, and also maybe a spinster aunt or a spinster sister. Okay, so every man was taking care of a constellation of women financially.
Yeah.
You think that women would enjoy watching a woman take a spot that may go to their man? Like you have I don't know, maybe 3 women attached to this guy getting a job and them having a living as well, or at least getting income to the household because they probably were responsible for doing something. And they watch a woman who has no responsibilities but maybe herself and can still also marry another craftsman.
Yep.
And they're probably not very pleased. So don't just think that this pressure comes from men.
Yeah, no. And also women were very concerned about wages being driven down. How much you charge for work is very much supply and demand. And if women come in there and they increase the supply, right, but demand less, then the amount anybody can charge goes down, right? And that seems to have been the effect of the women's liberation movement in the 60s and 70s when women flooded into the workforce, and all of this negative pressure was placed on wages because you basically had more workers doing the same amount of work or willing to do the same amount of work, and you had consumption rates went up because if the women are working outside the home, they're not working inside the home as much, right? So they have to buy conveniences, they have to do all of this other stuff, right? So it was really great for corporations because they could negotiate
wages for families.
Yeah, wages down and negotiate prices of consumer goods up, and especially high-end consumer goods. Processed consumer goods, and
the process of industrialization, like if you look at it, I sorry to interrupt you. If you look at industrialization, if you actually look at women's work and give it throughout history and give it some value, in terms of allowing their families to be financially independent, and also in many cases maintaining their families in times when the income from the men wasn't quite there. And also throughout a lot of human history, like the home was the primary unit of production. So they were producing cloth, they were producing small goods for sale, they were producing food items. So it's like a little factory.
And a lot of that labor was not taxable.
Yeah, it was not taxable.
If it was bartered, it was not taxable, right? It was only if it was sold.
Yeah, and they're actually finding in like the Victorian era there was an accounting system for like a women's economy, like separate from what we might consider the government-controlled economy, that was completely like unaccountable for in terms of taxes, and they would keep accounts of the things that were basically like moved, the material goods that were created and moved, and who owed what, just from household to household. So, and in terms of labor as well. And all of that constituted its own like industry, its own kind of, I want to say academic, but that's not quite right. Its own kind of expertise, and its own knowledge base. And it was completely female controlled, like throughout all of human history, completely female controlled. And in many cases, this was the means by which people survived year to year, was completely under women's control.
Yeah, no, and you look at like even modern arrangements. Like, okay, so when my kids were small, and my ex would have to, like, say, go down island for 2 days, right? From the north tip all the way down to Victoria to pick up his kids from the airport and drive them back. So I was working in the evenings, right? I needed somebody to look after these 2 kids. And I had a friend, and she was like, oh, here's what we'll do. I'll drive over. I'll pick you guys up. I'll drop you off at work. I'll drive the kids to my place. I'll look after them for free. No problem. Feed them, all of that stuff. And then I'll pack them up and pick you up at work and drive you all home, right? And no charge, except can you help me reupholster my couch? Well, how do you tax that?
You don't. But that was a huge.
You don't, and you can't. Yeah, you don't, and you can't, and that's the whole thing.
Corporations have nothing to do with it. Like they get nothing from that.
Yeah, with a swap economy like that, it's like, oh, I made a broom. Do you have any eggs? Here, straight trade.
And that used like they are finding evidence of how big that economy was. And like, again, they call it maybe an informal or domestic economy. I would actually call it the autonomous economy or the independent economy, because it was independent of corporate and government oversight, which is probably why they hated it. But in the process of the rise of like the Industrial Revolution, that entire knowledge base, that entire sphere that women controlled was annihilated. And that's what they're trying to do in non-Western countries now, like the developing nations, is they're trying to basically annihilate that knowledge base and that sphere of control that the average woman or women have in those countries. And when you talk to people from those countries, they will tell you that women rule the roost in the home.
Yeah.
Okay. And no matter what happens in public, women rule the roost in the home. And then if you are in an Islamic society, that's true. If you're in like an African society, that's true. If you are in an Asian society, like this double, triple plus true. So it's like, what do you mean by a patriarchy? Especially since this swap economy, this independent economy, this knowledge base that women controlled throughout all of human history, up till probably the 50s, when this invention occurred. What would you say that is when it was responsible for keeping people alive? And women were very much a big part of who got access to it.
Yeah.
So for example, in Africa, girls have a place in the home. They have access to this economy. They have access to this knowledge base. Boys 100% do not. So if a boy can't make himself useful through education or getting a job, he's in the street. But then we look at the stats on education of girls, and it's like, oh, well, look, there are more boys in school. Yeah. How many girls are on the streets? I mean, if you're going to look at an economy that still has tremendous value in the home independent economy and a huge knowledge base that only girls have access to, and then you say, well, but you don't see as many girls in this sort of Western system. No, you see more boys. But then consider how boys have to make themselves valuable somehow, or they're on the street. Girls don't. They have
financially.
They have access
with cash money.
With cash money, they have access to the home economy. Which it may not be great to be like a second niece doing laundry, but it's better than being a kid being raped on the street.
Or mining cobalt.
Yeah, like that. It's insane. You got to look at the whole picture. And throughout all of human history, women had access to that economy and that knowledge base. And just because it doesn't exist anymore doesn't mean that you can unilaterally look at history and say that women were excluded. Well, so were men. They were excluded from those positions in women's world. Like they weren't allowed. They had no access. Women had some access into men's spaces. Men had no access into women's spaces, and they never have up until today. And then everybody is losing their ever-loving fucking mind. What a surprise. But anyway, I'll play a little bit more. Oh, wait, I should probably do the things. I noticed nobody has gone to feedthebadger.com/support and helped us out. So please, please, please do take a moment to do that. I mean, we do only continue to exist as a radio show because you guys open your hearts and your wallets and help us out. Otherwise, poof, we're gone. And that can happen pretty quick in these particular times. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support and put $5, $10, every bit helps. Just take a moment to do that. And also remember, if you want to send us a message, it's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. I wonder if we are actually streaming on YouTube. Are we streaming on YouTube? Did that work?
It should. I mean, I think.
Yeah, let me double check that. Because we had a bit of a snafu going into this with.
Let me check.
Let me just.
It should be.
No, actually, it isn't. I don't think.
No, shut up.
Oh yes, my little workaround did not work. Let me double check to make sure there's no stream on YouTube. Well, I was wondering why everything is so quiet.
Yeah, I'm looking at the restream encoder back room, and it's telling me that it's green. That's usually how you know whether or not it's going. So
okay, all right. So let me just, because there seems to be two of them now.
Are they both going?
Yeah, they're not both going. It's just this one is let me just double check what's happening with this. Let me put in there you go. Go there. I'm gonna pop in a better image on this. Sorry guys.
Weird.
Yeah, it is. Well, the thing is that YouTube did not actually create a instance of this show prior to going live with it. So
yeah, I mean, we do have people watching and stuff.
Yeah, we do have people watching, but there's some who are there's some who are on the previous instance. I think this is the instance that I created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this sucker.
Okay.
And force everybody to find a new place to be. And come on here. Where are you? I cannot even see this. Here it is. All right. Okay, everybody on that one, you're soon going to have to leave it.
Go to the other one.
Yeah, go to the other one. All right. Okay, let's see if we got anything through here.
I got super chats.
Okay, great. Let's go take a look at the super chats then.
All right. Gary Thomas gives us $10 and says, "Hey all, love your work. I'll give Mindy Keiling's Velma 1 credit. It made me appreciate it made me appreciate 2010's Mystery Incorporated, where Velma was still a know-it-all, but she was a likable know-it-all." Yeah, that's one of the things that I observed that I thought was really weird is that, the Scooby-Doo, what would we call it? Intellectual property. It's been rebooted a whole bunch of times recently. Like,
it's been rebooted a whole bunch of times all through its life. I mean, like, I remember the Scooby-Doo where there was only Scooby-Doo, and then there was another Scooby-Doo where there was also Scrappy-Doo.
Yeah, I remember that. But like, normally if they have a Scooby-Doo show, it runs for, I don't know, like a year or something. They're always popular. Like, they always are successful insofar as what they are about, right? So, you know, it's aimed at, it's basically aimed at kids. I mean, it has been up until very recently. And in general, it does fine, you know, for what it is. And so I've observed that myself. But in the last year, I think they tried rebooting this show like at least 3 times. And I think it's like they're trying to like figure out like how can we make this appealing to adults or young adults? Because there was a Scooby-Doo show before this Velma one where they tried to out Velma as a lesbian. And I remember I don't know like if it ever went anywhere or whatever, but I remember seeing that and saying, but why though?
Well, we all knew the whole time.
You know what? That's one of the things that people say is it's like one of those running jokes like where we knew that Velma was probably gay, but I don't know. I don't think she is.
No,
I think she is now, but
I don't necessarily think she was intended to be gay, but there was always some, you know, a little bit of speculation around, you know, like is she gay, you know, because she kind of seems a little gay, but yeah, no, and particularly as people who grew up with the franchise grew up, right? They're like, oh yeah, Velma's totally gay. But when you actually look at it, like it's kind of like that moment in Moonlighting. You remember Moonlighting? It was one of the first Bruce Willis vehicles, right?
Yeah.
and the moment that he and Sybil Shepherd hooked up, that was basically
the end of the show.
The end of the show, right? Once it was revealed that they actually were hot for each other, and you know, and it all the tension was released, and nobody was saying, "Oh, will they or won't they?" anymore, and so people stopped watching because it just wasn't. There was no tension. It wasn't exciting anymore. The conflict was over, so now it's boring, and the idea that having a character reveal themselves, that even a character that, you know, maybe half the audience suspects, you know, is gay, right? Revealing that doesn't help your show, right? If part of the appeal of the show is that ambiguity, that kind of like, well, is she gay or is she not? Like, you know, like deciding that you're like some of the other things in this reboot really annoy me as well. But yeah, no, there was no reason to do that. Just like there was no reason to like bring gender politics into it, because
right.
Everybody knew from the start of the series that Velma was the smart one. She was always the one who caught on to what was actually happening quicker than anyone, and you don't need to bash us over the head that she's really smart, and then string in this mythology about how nobody ever saw her as smart. I mean, that's kind of what my origin story is like. Nobody saw me as smart because only men are smart, or some bullshit. And it's like,
I don't think it is. We've only gotten into the first 10 seconds. I think people are like, wow, this is gonna, well, you know, if you were new here, this is the way it usually goes. We get maybe a minute in, but I'm gonna take it back to, I should probably do some arm twisting because we haven't received anything for the fundraiser, and that's making me nervous. So if you would like to make sure that we can continue to do this work, once again, you do have to go to feedthebadger.com/support and help us out. I really appreciate just one person going and giving us like $5 just so we feel like we're making some movement, that would be great. So once again, it's feedthebadger.com/support. We're going in on our 10th year on talking about these issues, and I believe we are the only ones who talk about them in the way that we do. That we, it doesn't matter what side you're on, we've got to improve how we treat men. Otherwise, it looks like what's happening now is just going to get worse. And part of the reason why is we're making it almost impossible mentally for the half of the human race that generally takes the biggest risks to keep society afloat to do so. Men are motivated by a desire for pro-social status. What does pro-social status mean? It means that you feel like in the process of gaining status, you are helping people. What does patriarchy theory tell men about their participation in society? That it is actively harmful to women. You are, by definition, going to induce a productivity crisis in your culture by embracing the patriarchy myth and the corresponding gender roles that men's participation in society is oppressive of women. It's actively harmful of women. Well, what happens? Men often get confused by what they should be doing because they're not sociopaths. Like they want to gain a pro-social, they want to engage pro-socially, gain pro-social status, and they're being told there's no way to do it. Why do you think they're escaping into things that make sense to them, that aren't being productive in society? So if you look around you, and a lot of people are starting to wake up onto this, which is great, because I was talking about this in 2019, that what our society really has is a productivity crisis. Well, look no further than the attitude that men's participation in society is detrimental to women, to why they're no longer participating and why our society is no longer productive. And if we don't fix that, we're not fixing much at all. It doesn't matter what point on the spectrum you are, either politically or gender-wise. If you have a society that is non-productive, it is a society that cannot sustain itself. It is a society that cannot defend itself. It is a society that just requires one swift, strong strike to the one thing that's keeping it afloat, currency, the value of the one thing that's keeping it afloat, to then start to crash and sink. I was going to say burn, but I don't know if that's working with the metaphor. Anyway,
yeah.
Like I said, I think this is the most critical politics to attend to at this point. I could go on how it underpins other stuff as well. I'm blanking on it right now, but I can dredge it up for you guys if you want. But once again, make sure we're able to continue to talk about this, because I think if we aren't able to continue to talk about this, the world is going to be a lot poorer for it. And again, I am also very appreciative of everybody who allows us to continue to speak. I know that these are some very difficult topics. They spread very slowly because they are quite difficult. It is extremely hard to question something as intimate and basic as how we understand ourselves as men and women. So difficult that the people who say, "Oh, I'm gender fluid," all they really mean is, I've decided that this effect on my personality doesn't exist, so it doesn't exist, when in fact they are completely and utterly determined by gender binaries. They've just constructed one of the worst ones in human history. Anyway, feedthebadger.com/support. Really appreciate their help and making sure that we can continue to do this. We did get a few in. Oh, hey, cool. Thank you, guys. I would like to thank, just from what I was starting, we got $100 from Hyper Chicken. So thank you, Hyper Chicken. And we also got $25 from Andrew. I'm just going to say Andrew. I won't say the rest of it. I don't think it's a legal name, but I don't want to make a mistake on that. So thank you, Andrew, for the $25. Spoon. And we also got a few super chows. So thank you, guys. Thank you for heeding the call. I really appreciate it. And I do genuinely believe that we're talking about the things that need to be talked about. They will not be popular because they need to be talked about. And I've seen this dealing with other positions on the problems facing us today. As soon as you start to explain how the micro, which is the relationship between men and women, propagates into the macro, which is all of the crazy shit that we're seeing. People's eyes glaze over because it's just easier to tilt at the windmills of the crazy shit than look at, attend to your own garden, in other words. And go ahead, Karen, you unmuted, so I'm sure you have something to say to that.
Well, I think, like what we need to, what's difficult is that sort of the feminist narrative that we've all kind of absorbed from the culture since the 1960s and 70s, right? It really agrees with certain aspects of our psyches. Women deserve help.
To hide it.
Yeah, women deserve help, protection, and support. Men are, strong, capable, and potentially dangerous. And that's basically those are things that, those are bumper stickers on our brains. So it's like when we see a threat coming at us from an angle that we don't expect, we're actually more likely to point to the people that we always saw as a threat all along, right? It's men's fault that women are out of control. And, that they're, and, I read a tweet just recently that, the guy posted some research and it said that, increasingly the top 20% of men are having more, yes, men as a whole are having fewer sexual partners and more men than ever are not having sex at all. But the top 20% of men are having more sex than ever. And that just feeds, just like, welcome back to the tournament system. Worked so well for chimps. I hear they have freeways and iPhones and everything, right?
They don't even have tools that last a season.
They do have compound tools, they don't, Allison.
They may have compound tools, but they don't last. They're not made of stone. They don't have compound tools plus compound tool producing processes. And also, we can't go back to the chimp system because chimp babies are more functional than human babies.
Yep, true.
But just to your point, the tournament. But the really big problem with the tournament mating style for humans, which is not our natural style,
is it does not capitalize on male cooperation and tolerance
and productivity, and in order to construct this nice little nest that we all exist within. But anyway, but yeah, it's exactly like that.
We have an Alex Jones was right jar. What we need is a Camille Paglia was right jar. Just for that one epic quote when she said, "If civilization had been left in women's hands, we'd all still be living in grass huts."
Yeah, to be fair, if it had just been men, we probably still would be living in grass huts. We'd just be happier. Well, because they wouldn't. There would be no impetus to actually necessarily improve the situation. A lot of what seems to drive the progress of humanity
is the motivating factor that women
desire. The desire to give women a comfortable place, because women are really bad breeders, really poor breeders. So giving them a comfortable place to give birth and raise their children, it's a huge driver for society. And it's not to say that women are useless. That, like we've talked about the informal economy that they had for a long time, but
yeah,
men would also live in grass huts.
They're not like bitches who 12 puppies, right? And 8 of them survive every litter.
No. Human women are probably the most difficult. Honestly, the human life cycle is astoundingly difficult. It's a wonder we've become so successful. But overall, these people who say that they are challenging these roles, all they're doing is saying, "Oh, we're just not going to talk about it." And
they're exploiting. They're exploiting the traditional gender paradigms in order to propagate a false narrative.
Yeah. And that's what's so funny about like the gender paradox, right? The fact that women are going into STEM less in like the Nordic countries and other countries that supposedly have greater equality. Well, there's an Occam's razor solution to that. Western cultures are not actually promoting gender equality. They are promoting a new type of gender in which men are ultimately responsible. Men are agents who take action, and women are victims who receive action. This is actually a much more strict and existential set of gender roles than has ever existed in human history. And most traditional cultures reject it because they still need their matrons and their wise women and their female economy to survive. Yeah. So when we have the CEDAW map of enlightenment that indicates that people who are the whitest are the most enlightened, that's the Committee for the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, by the way, which has officially discovered that the lightest skinned people on the earth are closest to God because they treat women the best. But the thing is that when you look at those cultures, it makes perfect sense that they have to keep their women responsible and highly responsible because they need women to fulfill their role to continue to survive.
Yeah.
They don't have the gigantic fat buffer that the West has.
Yeah, no. And anybody who thinks that this is sustainable, right? Because it's like, well, $31 trillion is only like 1.8 times the total GDP in the US, right? Okay, like really? So that money that we took out loans for is going for non-appreciable assets. It's going towards non-appreciable stuff. It's not going towards investment. It's not going towards, it's okay. It's okay to actually have a home that's worth $300,000 when you only earn $100,000 a year because your asset is going to hold its value, right? So the loan you took out on that, right, it can be justified because the asset itself that you purchased is going to hold its value. It's going to retain its value. It might increase in value, right? Probably won't decrease too much, right? Mm-hmm. If you bought in a stable market anyway. But what you have now is you have people, this is just the federal debt, right? It's basically the federal government using its credit card to buy groceries.
Mm.
Yeah. If you as a private person, right, are using your credit card to buy groceries, well, I mean, you can use your credit card to buy groceries because, then you increase your credit limit as long as you pay it off to zero every month.
Yeah, every month. Right? But if you're not, then that's
if you're spending money you don't have and racking up debt just to buy groceries, right? That doesn't bode well. If you're if you're earning $100,000 a year and spending $130,000 or $180,000 a year, right, on non-appreciable assets, on consumables, right, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's not sustainable. That's where we're at right now.
Let me put it this way. Societies run on love. And people point and they laugh at me. They're like, oh, that's so hokey. But it's true. Right now, our society runs on love of money. Better hope that the money doesn't lose its value because we don't have anything else we love.
Well,
and when it loses its value, we're going to find out just how much love is essential to running a society.
Well, when the loans get called in, we'll just appropriate land and private property and all of that. We'll use eminent domain, seize a bunch of it.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
And then seize a bunch of it and use the proceeds we'll just basically gift it to whoever our debt holders are, primarily China, I think. And we'll all have to learn how to speak Mandarin.
Okay, do you think that they're going to need they're going to literally need an army for that. I mean, okay, I know this is a verboten topic on YouTube, but maybe I can couch it in words. Apparently, the Canadian federal government decided to start its gun grab in Prince Edward Island, and I believe it's been scrapped with no word. And I think it may be because the
you'll pry it out of my cold dead fingers.
Yeah, the Mounties basically did a risk assessment and said,
no. Can you see me noping over here? I'm noping. Yeah, I'm noping like crazy.
Because the thing is that the government has to consider that those pasty white pencil pushers have to consider you're going to need an army to seize everybody's assets to pay this loan back. And at that point, you're gonna have two problems. One, there's gonna be what kind of value is land gonna have when it's in the midst of a civil war? Two, you're gonna have a motherfucking army. How quickly is that army gonna be like, we don't need pencil pushers?
Yeah, the army's gonna be like, you want me to take my grandpa's what?
Well, they won't use Canadians. They'll just use an external army, but then you have an external army in your sovereign nation. You see that the problem, like this is what does in the, okay, guys, look through your history. This is what does in empires.
Yep.
Okay, this is it. This is the precipice. Anyway, this is a little bit depressing. It's completely off topic, but however, to be honest, Velma, the show is just the stupidest, most childish crap.
Any topic that'll keep us off the topic of Velma is fine.
We will get back to Velma. I am going to force this, but I just want to point out that this is a self-insert. And, okay, guys, people who are making this and watching this shit, not just watching this shit in terms of responding to it, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to call out the people who are actually turning this mulch into delicious raspberries or something. But at what point, I'm talking to men in general who seem to be supporting this kind of, okay, if we buy into this framework, we get to save the women's into perpetuity, which is also very, very indulgent for men. At what point do we stop picking through the chunks of a woman who's just vomited up her id all over the TV? Like,
we're looking for that diamond, Allison.
Yeah, this is literally Mindy vomiting her id onto the screen, and it's just it's a little bit not life affirming. Let's put it that way. Okay, I'm going to do another 10 seconds at least. Oh God. Okay, and then we'll read the super chows.
Sure. Normally, origin stories are about tall, handsome guys struggling with the burden of being handed even more power. And if
Ari went through that. Damn it! Was that a repetition?
No.
How did that happen?
No. It's just keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can't keep going because I don't want to get hit by the stupid copyright.
Yeah, but we just interrupted.
Girls, it's usually like, hey, what made this hot chick go crazy?
Origin stories of what made this hot chick go crazy. How to solve mysteries with your friends. The
Never
big
heard
book of books you've seen in History of Fog. I'm just looking at these books. God, they're so bland. God, Mindy, can't you just... No references, nothing, just boring crap.
Mm-hmm.
So to remedy this, I've decided to finally share the bone-chilling events that drove me to assemble the greatest team of spooky mystery solvers ever. Yeah, it was me, not Fred and his weird sex van.
What?
Fred and his weird sex van.
Of all the characters that I thought were gay, I actually thought Fred was.
Yeah, a little bit. You have to be you have to be a little wristy to wear an ascot, but
yeah, I'm like, the cravat seems a little bit, and it's not even the cravat. There's just something about him that just screams.
He was very proper.
Yeah, but okay,
maybe
that doesn't mean anything. But
no,
But yeah, no, he was too stupid to be gay.
He wasn't exactly
is that a stereotype?
He wasn't exactly a bad boy, so.
Like what?
No,
yeah,
he wasn't.
No, he was very.
Was Shaggy a bad? I guess he was a bit.
No.
Okay. Fred was the guy who owned the van. She's implying that it was the van that he used to, like, I don't know, lure young girls in for like some waka 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 waka. Yeah, no, that's not Freddie.
No, it wasn't.
No, not at all. And even if he was gay or whatever,
he was still very proper.
Yeah, no, he was like he was pretty. He wasn't even, he was supposed to be like a jock, but he wasn't like a mean jock.
No.
No, he wasn't like a Biff from freaking Back to the Future jock.
I think he was the Johnny, like from one of those kids shows, like those action kids shows. I think it's Johnny something, Johnny Adventure.
Johnny Bravo.
No, that's Adult Swim later.
Yeah.
But it looks like one of those like little one of the adventure kids.
Oh, Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't he like with the didn't he have like a bandana around his neck? I think that's what they might have been going for. In which case, yeah, you're right, Karen. He's just pretty much defined by being Boy Scout.
He was just that's basically it. He was like the Boy Scout guy it was like when you're creating a group of fictional characters for your show, one of them needs to be like representative of the standard person. And that was what Fred was. They were like, he's a white, blonde dude, in decent shape, dresses fashionably, and he's always he's always like the moral center of the group. He says, well, this is what we need to do, or this is, we got to focus on whatever. And so that was it. That's why
Daphne was also a little bit of that too.
She was the support character for the same thing, and that's why the show didn't really focus on them much. The show historically focused on Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Velma because they were like slightly odd or out. Like they were slightly odd characters.
They were the people who would take action when the others wouldn't.
Yeah, and also the others were never on screen. So it's like they knew that in most cases that Daphne and Fred didn't have as much to offer because they were like the straight men and the straight women.
Boring. They were boring.
Yeah, they were the support. They were support for the wacky.
Yeah, they were the support, exactly. And so you wanted to watch as a child, which is what the show is made for. You wanted to see what Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, and to a slightly lesser degree, Velma, that you wanted to see what they get into. And I say that about Velma because she was still the smartest. So there was advantages to having Velma around, because usually, like, say, Scooby and Shaggy run into, the ghost or whatever, and there's a big old chase sequence, and there's lots of silly shit that happens, and then they somehow manage to escape. Well, it's usually in the aftermath of that
Velma puts it all together.
Yeah, or she discovers a clue. She's usually the one that discovers the clues. So.
Yeah, no, they're the most entertaining because Scooby and Shaggy as partners in weed, partners in weed. I think that was implied, at least for the parents who watch the show with their kids, right? They were partners in weed. They weren't that bright. They constantly stumbled into trouble. Right. They were always, and then they would comically react to that trouble. And then you'd have this slapstick thing going on. And it was all very thrilling and wonderful, kind of like Wile E. Coyote or whatever. Right. And then you would have Velma kind of come in at the end and put all the pieces together and figure out who done it, and that it wasn't really a ghost. It was actually, the groundskeeper in a costume, right? And he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. And basically,
don't forget,
Freddie's job was to drive the van, and Daphne's job was to get kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically Daphne and Freddie just put everybody in their crates in the end.
Yeah,
probably. And it's just like, everybody's Velma, get into your pod. Shaggy, get into your sleeping bag. Scooby, get into your crate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and it's like it, but Scooby and Shaggy were actually effectively one character, and and you had that, and then you had Velma, and they were the main players, and then you had, you needed Freddie to represent normalcy and drive the van, and Daphne to represent normalcy and occasionally get kidnapped. And that was it, right? Like those two didn't solve anything. They weren't that bright. Shaggy and Scooby were like really dumb. And that's why they would always stumble into trouble, but inadvertently stumble across clues, right? That Velma would then interpret. So it totally, the chemistry between the characters totally worked. Totally worked.
For what it is.
Can we discuss what's on the screen right now?
What is on the screen?
Well, okay, all right. She has open to her journal where she has written Velma Dinkley Jones with a light bulb and hearts.
I hate Daphne.
And I hate Daphne. And I'm like looking at this and I'm thinking, is this character supposed to have gone through puberty?
I know, right?
This looks like,
she literally said she assembled a team of her closest friends to solve mysteries. Mm-hmm. And in her diary, it's like, I hate Daphne. I don't know. Maybe this is the prequel to the assembly of that team. Maybe
it is.
Realize Daphne.
I just want to point out that she's the level of narcissism.
She's supposed to be a teenager. Teenagers.
Yeah, I know, but maybe. But look at the fucking narcissism on the. Okay, yes, teenagers may do this, but here's the thing. When you're writing a story about teenagers, you don't write the reality of teenagers. You try to find what... No, because then you won't create a character that's compelling or people want to follow. You got to actually make them sympathetic.
No. You start them off, right? Somewhat sympathetic in the sense that they're acting like any other teenager, but then you carry them through a character arc that lets them grow as a person.
I don't know if acting like a teenager is a source of sympathy for a lot of people. Like, you might make them sympathetic by, for example, you could have a montage where we see Velma and Daphne when they were girls and they had a friendship,
or an antagonism.
Well, the I say a friendship because apparently they were friends as children. Well, maybe they do that. Maybe that's the next thing that we're going to see. Maybe, okay, let me put it simply. Velma isn't just a teenager. She is a character that this person wants us to care about, right? Let's see if she does anything related to writing craft that would suggest we should care about this character. So far, no. Like, basically, she's just pontificated about how she is apparently a victim of superhero origin stories in which men or boys gain power, and in their origin story, they learn to take responsibility, thus becoming a hero. So she's a victim of that because, I don't know, for some reason she's focused on the power aspect rather than the responsibility aspect, which does say a hell of a lot about this character, if we're going to think of this as a separate character from Mindy herself. It says that she is power hungry. She has no sense of responsibility. Now we learn that she's a narcissist and that she hates this woman called Daphne, probably because she's attractive.
Told my way. And it starts with a murder, bitch.
Oh.
But she said bitch. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, no, it's...
Did she say a murdered bitch?
No.
Not a murdered bitch. It starts with a murder bitch.
Yeah, like with a comma.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I have not seen any effort to make this character sympathetic.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's just arrogant at this point.
Yeah, arrogant, self-righteous, judgmental, selfish, narcissistic, power-hungry, lacking in any sense of responsibility, and having no connection to another human being. In other words, she's completely fucking irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she can be redeemed.
Well, let me put it another way. I don't give a fuck if she can be redeemed.
There you go.
Brenda? Ugh. This school sucks.
Do cockroaches really breed that way?
A little bit.
Oh, look. Okay, is Mindy trans exclusionary radical feminist, or is she like a we can totally mine trans women for their victimhood feminist?
No idea.
No idea.
Oh, is this supposed? Are you saying that it looks like a man is about to enter a woman's space?
Well, obviously, it's a man entering a woman's space. Look at that! Didn't you see that freaking boot?
Yeah, I did see that boot, but I've also seen horror films where they make the killer look like a man with that kind of foreshadowing, and then it turns out to be like the Noxzema girl. So.
Or a rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm serious.
He just killed those fornicating cockroaches. We should hate him, I think, even though she was like scared of them. All right, okay. Not only are you failing,
it's basically he squished them without even being grossed out.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like a man?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, anything
as the resident wasp, cat trapper, spider killer, and other insect hunter in my home, right? Yeah, you can't be scared of bugs, and you can't be grossed out by them. You just need to deal with them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna read the super chows. We can still on this. Incidentally, this is to be the weirdest freaking high school I've ever seen. I don't recall the co-ed, no, not co-ed, but the girl, the hot tub in the girls' shower.
No, this isn't a hot tub. This is like there's a wall.
Okay.
Yeah, a shower wall.
It's a shower.
There would be a shower wall. There would be a wall, not waist high, but all the way up between stalls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anonymous gives us $5, so thank you, Anonymous. Once again, as I'm reading this, if you want to send us a message, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justtip. And if you want to support the show, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/support. That's very appreciated. Mr. 0303 gives us $30. That's a lot of threes. Velma was never gay. She was hot for guys before, including Johnny Bravo. In the Terrible Mystery Inc., she had a thing with Shaggy. Yeah, I'm not sure if her dating Johnny Bravo was canon. But the thing is, she's not gay here either.
At least not that she might be. I don't know. We haven't gotten very far.
No, I've seen a bit more. I don't think she is gay. But most she's bi. Okay, so the Great Endures gives us $5 for feedthebadger.com/support, and then $5 for just the tip. I thought that the whole 30-minute diversion was the arm twisting, stop running the clock, and get back to Velma, you hack frauds. Thank you, the Great Endures.
Well, okay. That be that as it may, I think I'd rather talk about geopolitics now.
Yeah, I know, but we need to go through this crap.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
It's just, and what's also astounding is how limited this woman's mind is and world.
Hey, Team Shower discussion topic of the day. Have you ever noticed how pilot episodes of TV shows always have more gratuitous sex and nudity than the rest of the series?
Oh my God, I have.
So true. That's how we learned what Rachel Brosnahan's boobs look like.
And Don Cheadle's butt.
Well, I, for one, think it's lame.
Agree. So lame.
The lamest. Oh, I actually kind of love it. Sex sells, and in today's overcrowded market, you need a hook.
The only hook a good show ever needs.
All right.
Well, they're trying to be ironic here.
Self-aware.
I know they're trying to be ironic. Karen, but you cannot be ironically boring, and this has suddenly become so.
Yes.
Okay, then why are we still watching it?
Because the great indoors has cracked the whip, and we must continue.
All right.
Like this is the moment where I'm fucking bored of this scene. Like you've completely removed the tension. Like there's no tension now.
Is good storytelling.
Then why was your favorite part of the Riverdale pilot when Betty and Veronica kissed?
Oh, who gave a fuck? Who gives?
Well, because I was instantly called out as tired in the scene.
No, it's because it was hot.
You could have it both ways.
No, you can't. Just admit, we are all secretly perverts.
Never.
Why is this? Why are things escalating this much?
Yeah, no, I'm like. What is,
I like it now. I'm a fan now.
What is this? The Born Identity in the girls' freaking shower room at high school? What?
I love her expression. She's just like, I am in a murderous fury over fucking.
A dispute about pop entertainment.
Maybe she's secretly some kind of comedic genius. This woman.
Well, I mean, like she is making a commentary about how, about how they put all the sexiest footage in the trailer. About how, and this is the trailer, is it?
No. Well, I don't know.
Oh no, it's the first 12 minutes of the first fucking episode. But I like how they have the lacrosse stick, so that more markers of masculinity.
Yeah, well, but
God knows that the instant a person with higher than average testosterone enters the women's changing room, sex and violence thus ensues.
Yeah, well. Anyway.
And how do you feel about race-blind casting, Daphne?
Oh my God, that's Velma.
Yeah, it is.
Is this like some kind of meta shit?
I don't know.
All right.
I mean, it looks like Velma.
Okay.
I don't even know what the fuck is happening anymore.
I just need to know.
It's utter chaos.
Why aren't any of these people lying on the floor bleeding, unconscious, right? And is Daphne possessed by a demon? What's going on here?
It could be anything. Anything could be going on.
Well, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a Scooby-Doo mystery.
This is the most.
We need the mystery machine.
This is terrible to the point where.
No, this escalated so unbelievably quickly.
Yeah, it escalated so fucking quickly and in multiple dimensions. Like, it's like these two are fighting, which generally makes them not very sympathetic at that point. I think she went after the girl who was like, I'm going to psychotically murder you. And I don't know anything at this point.
Well,
I can't recognize the characters. They all look the same to me.
Yeah, like basically she was having an argument with her clones, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I mean, not to oversimplify a thorny issue, but everyone.
Okay. What the fuck? This writing is so bad. It's almost a work of art. It's like, this is how do you fuck everything up?
I don't know.
Okay, I gotta listen to this again. This is
race-blind casting, Daphne.
Well, as an Asian woman,
Oh, she had to dump that. Why is she redheaded?
Asians,
she dyed her hair.
Yeah, Asians dye their hair.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, you would never know.
No.
Of course, she's tinted green in this.
By a thorny issue, but everyone loves it when white people play Jesus or a professional boxer. Why can't it ever go the other way, right?
Yes.
I think Jesus probably was Semitic, and honestly, I don't think there's that much difference between white and Semitic.
Yeah. Jesus was a Jew. Why do we care?
Yeah. Why do we care?
Most of the time, the people complaining about the fact that white people usually play Jesus, which has got more to do with language than anything else, those people don't believe in Jesus anyway. So I don't see why I need to listen to anything that you have to say on the subject.
Well, every culture has adapted every culture that embraced Jesus has adapted a Jesus in their own image.
Yeah.
Right. So you got like
archetypal.
Yeah, you got Chinese depictions of Jesus that look East Asian. You've got, Arab depictions of Jesus that look Arabic. You got black depictions of Jesus that look black. You got white depictions of Jesus that look white. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just a way to make Jesus relatable to the congregation. That's all it is.
She's just an archetype of a type of masculinity, a masculine heroic narrative. So,
Such an enlightened answer from such
a bitch.
Velma?
What the fuck am I watching now?
Why does she still have suds only mostly on her boobs and her cooch? That's what I want to know. Okay.
It's magic.
I think you
know.
know.
Hell, you
I
almost killed me.
Guess I didn't try hard enough.
See, now if this was a show, it'd be super hot if you two kissed.
Krista, if this was a show, you'd be killed off for being horny. Brenda? Wait, did you climb in my locker to prove how skinny you are again? Ugh, we get it. She has no brain!
Oh.
This is astounding. Even in the worst, like, C-slasher fic, when something like this happens, I have an emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I had no emotional reaction to this. How is that even possible?
It's a cartoon.
No, it's more
than when Wile E. Coyote blows himself up or gets covered with a pile of boulders. You don't have an emotional reaction.
Anime. I have had emotional reactions to horrific shit happening in anime. It's not just that it's a cartoon. It's that leading up to this had so much chaos that I have nothing to ground this in. Is this like a comedy? Are we supposed to laugh at this because it's like some weird brainless corpse based on everything else meta that happened here? Like, what am I supposed to feel at this point? I think that's the mystery.
Well,
and why are they arguing with each other again?
It looks like we need the mystery machine.
Looks like we need an entirely different cast of characters. What?
Not dissing her. She has no brain.
Weren't you guys, like, all of you about to kill each other? Like, that woman was about to kill the chick Lane?
Yeah. They were all about to kill each other, and then, something happened, and it was horrifying because a woman fell out of a locker, and her head cracked open, and her brain case had no brain in it.
Yeah, but the fact that every named character has just attempted to kill the other named characters, doesn't that sort of...
No idea.
No, that's my point. I have no idea at this point.
I think what they were trying to do might have been establishing like the relationships between the members of this group.
That there was enmity between Velma and Daphne.
Yeah. I mean, it went really extreme because they had her beating her with what appeared to be a crowbar, but I
think it was a field hockey stick, actually.
Oh, okay.
Cross.
Lacrosse.
No, lacrosse is like an
oval. Oh yeah, the net. Net, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Field hockey stick.
Well, yeah, that's a girl thing.
Well, that being said, I think that they were trying to establish their relationship, and it came across as a lot darker and more violent than I think they intended. But now you know how Daphne and Velma feel about each other. So, but it's so exaggerated that, you know, it's like, well, isn't Velma or Daphne just as likely to get killed by her friend than whoever's, you know,
this person,
people's brains?
Whoever wrote this has no fucking clue how to create suspense.
That's Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling has no clue how to create suspense.
No, she doesn't.
Ooh.
Hello? Anybody? I know my rights. I get a phone call and a handsome detective I infuriate with my indifference.
Who killed Brenda, Velma?
You're not real. You're not real.
Who isn't real, sweetie?
Okay, so it's an actual freaking supernatural being. Well, that's stupid.
Okay.
Maybe. That could be all shit happening in Velma's head. She's probably
she's schizophrenic.
Psychotic anyway.
Like, bipolar. Who knows? So
okay.
All right, keep going.
God's not real if you two morons are running this investigation.
Oh, how we've missed that sense of humor, girl. Seriously.
What?
Mm-hmm.
She investigated for murder.
She knows the cops.
Yeah, no, the cops are familiar with her, and they're like, do you got any like clues for us, dumb cops?
Yeah.
She's handcuffed to the table.
Yeah.
I would suggest that she's a suspect.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been since Daphne had you over to our house?
Since my mom went missing 2 years ago.
Oh, right. That.
Oh my God, you totally forgot.
No, we didn't. Every day we're closer to finding Doodad.
Dia. Her name is Dia. You know what? We're done here. Peace.
Wait. She was chained to the desk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they unlocked her.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. But then the chains disappeared.
They weren't important anymore.
Like, okay.
Anyway.
Dia. Her name is Dia. You know what? We're done here. Peace.
Unfortunately, we're not done here, Velma.
Wait. Do cops do this?
No. Well, are those tasers or are they guns?
No, I think they're guns.
And also, presumably, they would lock the door if they're
and they wouldn't if they thought that she was a threat that would require this. They wouldn't have unchained her. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the problem. Okay, I can understand this is like a wacky send-up, but
it's retarded?
Well, presumably she wants to be taken seriously about all the bullshit social issues she's talking about. Unless those are also wacky send-ups, which, I'm fine with. But it's really difficult for me to figure out where I should be taking this seriously.
You're a suspect in Brenda's murder.
Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
I'm just like, I feel like a little bit of my will to live is starting to rot. As I watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And
fail to fucking understand it. Like it's like this is just aliens.
I'm not as critical as you, but
I'm a suspect. I thought lesbians were.
Okay, so what do you find of merit in this?
nothing. But I'm not as critical as you. I don't have to understand something to be entertained by it.
No,
right?
I don't have to understand something either. But I would like it if it obeyed its own rules, right?
Well, 80% of fiction doesn't do that, Allison.
Okay, fuck, I'm an autist, but I still am not finding this entertaining.
It's not.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
No, I'm not saying I find it entertaining. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't have to understand it. I wouldn't be, like, struggling to understand it. I'd just be like, eh. And then I'd turn it off, so...
Okay, what I'm not understanding is the emotional beats, and also the fact that she doesn't really set anything up. She doesn't do setup.
No, her emotion. She did do a setup. It was a very brief setup. My mother disappeared 2 years ago, right? One of the cops is Daphne's mom, right? Who asked, "Well, how long has it been since Daphne had you over to the house?" And she's like, 2 years ago when my mother disappeared. And then she's like, "Oh, doodad, we've been looking for her." And it's like, no, her name is Dia, and so of course she's going to be mad, right? But it just basically is saying that the cops are stupid and incompetent and useless,
or whatever.
Also racist, because they're both white. I was actually
no, they're not both white.
No, one of them is black.
Yep. Okay, so maybe not racist.
But the white one was the one being racist. And it certainly could be that, because I know that she talks about racism on the episode, so...
Okay, if you're going to talk about social issues, I demand that you make more sense than this. Is that reasonable, Karen?
No.
Okay.
I thought lesbians were good at solving crimes. It's like the one positive stereotype perpetuated by cop shows.
Velma. She was found in your locker and you were lurking around the showers like a gym teacher who isn't a gym teacher anymore.
Clearly someone's trying to frame me. And I wasn't lurking. I was waiting to shower alone.
Because of your weight?
What? No.
Because of your handsome face?
My face is fine.
Because of your hairy gorilla arm?
No, because I hate your stupid adopted daughter and her fake-ass friends.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You and Daphne used to be best.
Okay, and... All right, okay. This I am not going to back up on. This entire exchange makes no goddamn sense.
No, it does. Okay. The two female cops are lesbians who are married, and they adopted Daphne. Okay,
no, I'm not
so
talking about
Daphne
that.
is their adopted daughter, and I'm not
talking about the background. I'm talking about the emotional through line of this scene. It starts with her chained to the table, which actually creates sort of a little bit of sympathy because you can see that she's actually suffering something. And they come in, they unchain her. She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go." They pull guns on her. There is no fucking reaction to that. Like, none whatsoever. It's just like, it's the next beat. And I'm like, no!
No, she reacted. She sat back down.
I know, but that's not, but like, and now we're back into like friendly chit chat? No,
it's not friendly chit chat. It's like basically, it's really, really, really bad backstory exposition.
Yeah, it's bad backstory exposition after having a gun drawn on you. Like, have you ever had a gun drawn on you? Like, I haven't.
No.
But, I have had unpleasant experiences with weaponry, and they do take a little time to recover from. Usually you might be a little bit hyperventilating. Maybe a little choked up by the experience. And at the very least, they might respond by locking her back up.
Yeah.
Like that's
if you have to draw a loaded gun to get somebody to sit back down.
Yeah,
you lock them back up. That's what you do.
But also, I'm pretty sure every time a cop takes their gun out of their holster, maybe not takes their gun out, maybe that's wrong, but points a gun at a suspect, there's some paperwork involved.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, this makes no logical.
Oh, it's not realistic. I know.
And okay, but if it's not realistic,
I think those were Acme Inc. guns.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's not realistic, but if it's not realistic, then I don't think that she needs to apportion her lack of realism in a way that doesn't take away the seriousness of the political issues that she's talking about. Maybe.
Just maybe, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's continue. That's all I have to say.
Friends, isn't that right?
Yeah, until Daphne got hot and ditched me to hang out with Brenda and the other popular girls at Spooner's Malt Shop.
They have all this.
What?
Yeah, in a police file. Yeah, they have all
Pictures
of this history of her friendship with Daphne and how it broke down in a police file.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's switching back and forth between this interview and Velma looking at her photo album scrapbook thingy at home.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm still not over the murderous rage on Daphne's face as she was, I think, choking the other one, Celeste, the horny one.
Yeah, I don't think she choked her, but
no, she got her on her front and started smashing her face into the freaking concrete floor.
Yeah,
covered in water.
Yeah, that was the bit that I remember.
Savage grin on her face.
Yeah. Weird.
Wow. Yeah, weird. I'm wondering, are they setting up that she's the murderer?
Okay, I see how this looks bad.
Look, we know you couldn't kill Brenda, sweetie.
But we also...
Okay, you just pulled the guns on this girl. Seriously, this is some fucked up shit.
And then they're like, well, we know you didn't do it.
Yeah, we're gonna now play
yeah, well, that's what cops do. That's what a cop
I don't think they do. Well, both of them pulled guns, Karen. Usually it's not bad cop, good cop, same cop.
No. Just because they pulled guns doesn't mean they wouldn't want to be like, we know you didn't do this. Of course they would say that. Of course that's actually probably the only realistic freaking part of this scene.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It would be more realistic if the guns hadn't come out, because they're trying to create sympathy with somebody that they threatened to kill 30 seconds ago. I don't know about you, but I think that we have to assume some kind of
maybe
paranormal level of sympathy.
Maybe they're trying to psychologically manipulate her into Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, within it's the 60-second Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, well, it's only a 20-minute show.
No, we're not like the best detectives. So the only way we're going to convince the sheriff you're innocent is if you help us find Brenda's actual murderer.
Help you find Brenda's murderer? But that's a mystery, and I don't solve mysteries.
Oh my god.
What?
This is literally as bad as fan fiction I've read from 12-year-olds.
As you know, Bob, we're not very good cops. So we're going to need to recruit you to help us. And in order to prevent you from leaving before we recruited you, we pulled our guns on you. We hope that you'll forgive us and let bygones be bygones. Oh, well, gee, I've never solved a mystery before.
They'll just pull out an egg timer and put 60 seconds on the clock and be like,
Jesus Christ. Oh my,
60 seconds Stockholm. Okay, so you are admitting it.
No, because when I thought it was that they were trying to convince her like induce Stockholm syndrome in her, right? In order to like get her to confess, that was realistic. This is not realistic.
None of it was realistic.
No.
Oh my God.
Realistic from the beginning.
Yeah, it's not like they don't point a gun at a suspect when they cuff him, right? And then bring him in and then try and make friends with him so that he'll confess.
Usually
right?
they use different cops. Okay? And what they would do is maybe they point a gun at her, get her cuffed. Probably not point a gun in the fucking precinct, but whatever. Get her cuffed.
Okay, the writer doesn't know. But basically, you could sort of see that maybe these cops were trying to scare the fucking shit out of her, right? And then she'd be like super susceptible to any kind of overture towards like, ooh, let's reconcile, let's make friends, maybe we could cooperate. You won't be in any trouble and no one will ever point a gun at you and scare you like that again. Right? Okay? So I can understand the psychology behind
Was that acknowledged?
I can't understand the psychology of doing that other than in the context of trying to build a bond in which the suspect feels safe to confess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it in engendering any kind of mutually voluntary cooperation. You know, in terms of let's get together and team up and find out who the killer is.
I have never seen somebody who is a police officer interrogating a suspect, usually a very specialized role, pull a fucking gun on the person they're trying to interrogate and then attempt to create a sympathetic connection with them. Never seen it. I suspect that is. I think you're really stretching to give this the benefit of the doubt, which I agree.
No, I'm not. They lost the benefit of the doubt when they revealed just now that, you know, they know she's not a suspect. She's not a real suspect. Now we need your help. No, it kind of made psychological sense, not in terms of tactics that are allowed by the police department, right? But in terms of psychological tactics, it made a little bit of sense in terms of if we were trying to actually get somebody to confess, right? Not in terms of trying to get somebody to work with us unless that person is like, maybe if Velma is actually the killer, she'd be like, oh fuck, these people are retards. I'll work with them and I'll get off on like, quote, helping them, right?
Okay, let's see where it goes.
Not anymore.
No, you're not creating mystery now.
I don't solve mysteries, not anymore.
Then you're screwed. You got 24 hours and then we arrest you. But still, so good seeing you. We miss you. Say hi to your father and doodad.
Dia! Hey, watch where you're going, jerk. Oh, hey, Fred.
Do I know you?
It's Velma from school. You cheat off me in Spanish because you think I'm Mexican.
Maybe. I have a disease where I can't recognize people who aren't hot. My doctor says it's basically sickle cell for rich guys.
Is it called rudeness?
It is. You're like smart.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, not a compliment. Anyway, have you seen Daphne? She texted...
Oh, Fred, thank God you're here.
Okay, I gotta stop this now because, banana. I just realized something. It's like we're almost going back to like landed gentry from the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only men who have any sexual prospects. Well, that's not true because, of course, the servants could only marry among servants. But the men who had sexual prospects usually were the ones with land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or riches that they inherited.
Yeah. Also, none of this reflects reality. Nothing.
No, it does actually.
No, it does. Like the self-loathing.
I mean, in the United States, like the idea that this guy Fred just gets positive attention from women, and it's because he's white?
No, not because he's white. It's because he's hot.
He's rich and hot.
Hot and rich. Yeah.
And what's really freaking hilarious is this is actually true. This is something that I discovered wading into the Meghan Markle debate.
Yep.
Apparently, black women in particular, at least the black women who follow Meghan Markle, considered white men to be the most desirable at the same time as they consider them to be the devil, which is, I'm still confused. And I swear to God, I never thought in these terms until they made it clear.
Yeah.
That this is the case. But we're not talking this, well, they're talking about whiteness. Like, let's leave whiteness aside and just look at the other things, like, which is, hotness and richness. And of course, hotness and being hot and rich is going to be an advantage for a man, in which he doesn't have to pay any kind of attention to less attractive women because he's got attractive women falling all over him. That's the phenomenon that's going on now. And, so it is actually, without the racial context of it, it's actually accurate. So as a social commentary.
Like I said, I've been made aware that the racial context is actually important, because despite the fact that white men are conceived to be the devil, in the context of intersectionality, that also makes them the most desirable because they have the most power and agency as men. So they are the most masculine of men.
Yeah, well, everybody finds the devil a lot,
which is actually really interesting. Yeah, exactly. Because the devil is more attractive than a victim, and every other man who isn't white is a victim. And furthermore, what's also interesting is it actually codifies white women as the most attractive as well. Yeah. Why does it do that? Because their victimhood is the most pure. They are victims because they're women, and psychologically, that is literally the most important victimhood psychologically, is the victimhood against women. So what intersectionality is another way of codifying white masculinity as superior to all other form of masculinity, and white femininity is superior to all other forms of femininity. What a surprise. In the end, it's all racism.
Well, and sexism.
And sexism. But fascinatingly, it's...
Yeah, no, and it's intersectional feminists. They're like, they try and say, oh, well, you remember the Kyriarchy thing ages ago? It never really stuck, right?
Yeah. People who are powerful have power.
Yeah, no, they were like, we don't really do patriarchy, we do Kyriarchy, right? And Kyriarchy takes into account intersectionality, right? So you could be oppressed by, the fact that you're a woman, but also by the fact that you're black and disabled and maybe LGBTQ. Right, and so therefore, it's not salad because we added mandarin orange segments and some chopped chicken to a bowl of lettuce and decided that it's not salad anymore. It's not patriarchy. We're not talking about patriarchy, right? We're talking about Kyriarchy, right? It's got a lot more than lettuce in it, and it's like, yeah, but it's still mostly lettuce, like. And if it didn't have any lettuce in it, would you be able to call it a salad, right? And the lettuce is patriarchy.
All right. Okay. I'm just saying, at the end of the day,
it's totally fucking racist. It's racist 8 ways from Sunday. Intersectionality.
Racist because it reduces people down to their biological categories, removes, and honestly, in the Western Christian tradition and post-Christian tradition, recognition of moral autonomy, free will, is essential to recognition of another person's humanity. So if you remove recognition of a person's, like, as Martin Luther King said, content of their character, then you are actually not recognizing them as fully human.
Yeah.
So the intersectional hierarchy is also the hierarchy of not recognizing people as fully human. And it actually just hit me that not only does it do that, but again, it codifies white men as the most masculine of men because they are the least victimhood. They have the least amount of victimhood and the most amount of agency, and a devil is sexier than a victim. But it also codifies white women as the most feminine of women because their victimhood is purely due to being women. And it's like, oh my God. Wow, well, more things change, huh?
Yeah, no. It's and all of this
and then it also
all laid down like thousands of years ago.
And also, we got the CEDAW map, which definitively proves that people with lighter skin are more moral than everyone else.
Yeah.
And you go look at it. I tweeted this out years ago. You look at the CEDAW map, that is the Committee for Elimination of Discrimination, like a creation of equality between men and women. Look at the CEDAW map.
Women, yeah.
And then look at the map of distribution of skin tone on the earth. It is a 1-to-1. So essentially, the CEDAW committee is proposing that the whiter you are, the more moral, the better you treat your women. And it has absolutely no ability to look at other factors like maybe these cultures that don't have the same amount of money put a lot more importance on the autonomous economy or the independent economy of women. I got a low battery, so we might have to stop soon. But we got another super chow. I'll read that out. So thank you. Great Endures gives us $10. You hacks are actually reviewing the topic of the show. I can't believe it. Here's a tenner. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to join the Great Endures in both supporting us, but also punching us in the face, you can go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Or if you would like to help out the show out, the overall show, you can go feedthebadger.com/support. And I think we can do like maybe.
I got a super chat. Super chat.
Go for it. Give us that super chat.
Scapegoat gives us $5 and says, "Allison, I miss your *Halt and Catch Fire* series." That's it.
I think it ended with MGTOW. And yeah, I know it's sort of horrible. It's sort of horrible to see Lee Price again because I don't know if you remember, but *Halt and Catch Fire* was the one where I went apoplectic because they basically depicted him being raped, the character, and never acknowledged that aside from the fact that he looked like he was having like a PTSD flashback afterwards. Like he was having some serious difficulty with existing. And then this. It's like this man can't catch a break. Okay, let's do another 20 seconds and then
Brenda's?
Into me. No, I know. I'm caliente, as this one's people would say.
No. Brenda's dead.
What? No, she was my plan B if you ever got too clingy. What happened?
Ask Velma.
Who?
Me, Fred. We were just... forget.
She was my plan B if you ever got too clingy. That was...
That actually did make me laugh.
Okay. Just like a typical effort by social justice warrior, the only character that is interesting, funny, compelling, or takes any responsibility is likely to be the man. I don't... Are you guys still there?
Yeah, yes. Just waiting for you to hit play or whatever.
Okay, one more section. Wow, that's really surprisingly sudden.
Not now, Daft. Jeez.
Then when, Fred? When?
And just FYI, I didn't kill Brenda.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Daphne's having like hallucinations.
No.
Yeah, Daphne's having hallucinations, but also
Velma's having hallucinations.
I meant to say Velma. Sorry.
Okay, but can we also just acknowledge the exchange that happened prior to that, where we're just blowing through?
Well, no, they're boyfriend and girlfriend.
I know, but Daphne started to go further than he was interested in, and he stopped her.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'm
probably this is dead now. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know what just happened, but regardless. Yeah, like she essentially pushed him beyond his boundaries. He told her to back off. None of that was acknowledged by anyone.
Well, she backed off.
Well, she did back off, but then she started shaming him. Yeah. Basically. Okay. I'm guessing that is something that she didn't realize she wrote.
Yeah,
is everybody in this show like an asshole of epic proportions?
I think so.
Daphne's a little bit rapey and also murderous. Velma's murderous. The only crime that Freddy seems to have is that he does not really recognize this disgusting creature who has absolutely.
Well, he thinks a lot of himself.
Yeah, that's it. But so far, the only character that is in any way sympathetic is Freddy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, and at least he's honest, right? So
yeah, he's freaking honest.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I would honestly say that Daphne and deserves the, if you get too clingy, she's my number 2, because Daphne is fucking terrifying. Like, honestly, am I not supposed to be terrified of a woman who was like slamming another woman's head into concrete while smiling like she was like she had been fantasizing about this for half her life? That moment, the first moment she gets to take another person's life and feel their last breath rattle through their broken face.
All right, you don't gotta get dramatic about it.
Yeah, because this is not a drama; it's something. All right.
It's a little weird.
Okay, so if you're listening to this, I think I'm gonna stop it here because
your phone is about to die.
Yeah, everything's about to die on me.
Yeah, okay. And I've got a bunch of stuff that I have to do.
And we've done 2 hours of this. We'll pick it up maybe Monday if you are able to.
Yeah, or Saturday or something. So
Saturday. I think we're going somewhere Saturday, maybe Sunday then. Yeah. But this is really badly written. Mm-hmm. Like, even beyond, I don't know about the diversity. I don't care about the diversity. This person does not know how to write suspense, create tension, release tension, and I don't think she knows how to create a compelling character.
No, or not compelling character, maybe likable character.
Is not so much. Is she even compelling?
Well, no, Velma, not as a protagonist. She's not compelling, but Freddy kind of was a little bit.
God. So they're doing it again. They're unintentionally making the white guy the protagonist because they don't know how to fucking write a human being.
I don't know whether they're making him the protagonist. I just think that they're setting him up to be the most likable character.
Unintentionally making him. Well, okay.
Because he's unintentional. He's arrogant and he's full of himself, but he's unintentionally honest about it because he's not smart.
And he's not being self-righteous either.
Yeah.
Which is one, like, honestly, this is something that I have read. You can make an unlikable character until you make them self-righteous, and then that people will not. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
That they just won't relate to a self-righteous character.
There you go.
Which really limits the social justice warriors if you think about it.
Oh my God. Anyway, Allison, you gave me a dent in my fucking head. Every time I put on these goddamn headphones for a couple of hours, I get like a dent that lasts for like 3 days in my soft freaking cranium. And when you got hair that's like only 1/4 of an inch long, it really shows. So thanks a lot, Allison.
Well, as you can hear, Karen has suffered for this. She has suffered greatly. And I feel you can just imagine even with that huge grin like Daphne as she's killing that woman in the shower.
Oh yeah. I love Karen's dented head. Let's dent it some more. Let's make it so that she can't show her face or her dented cranium in public ever again.
Okay, so anyway, if you want to support the show, it's feedthebadger.com/support. We'll pick this up again in a couple days. Maybe finish off another section. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? Or we'll go on a long digression trying to avoid this.
Mm-hmm. I'll try and come up with alternative topics.
Okay.
Before we reassemble, so.
I just think that Freddy is so far the most likable because, like you said, he's arrogant, but he's honest about it.
He doesn't seem mean. He just seems careless.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he doesn't care whether he hurts somebody. He's just like,
and he's also got some good self-preservation. He's like, I think the moment that Daphne becomes clingy is the moment he should really fear for his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Honestly. Unless you weren't intending to give that impression by her murderous rage. Or somebody who simply disagreed with her about sexual content in trailers.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. All right. So thank you for joining up. Thank you to everybody who supported us. I think we've gone through all the super chows and super chats. Mm-hmm. Once again, if you want to support the show directly, feedthebadger.com/support. I think we got a little bit further today. Maybe $125 on the fundraiser. I know this is a bit of the dead zone because people like to wait till the end. They like to
leave you dangling.
Suspense, yeah, like the proper kind of suspense, not like what this person writes.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Brian. Let's take it away.
All right, so if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Sorry. I'm getting yawn attacks. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when our streams go live. Please leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show. Also, let's see. Leave us I already said comment, right?
Follow us on Twitter and other social media. And you can also find me on Twitter because Elon Musk brought me back from the dead.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Karen. I was 3 years in the Twitter cemetery, and then he brought me back to life. So,
and then I got a strike for calling something mentally ill.
Oh, that's stupid.
Christ. Stupid.
Yeah, that's not just stupid. It's retarded, and it's also psychotic.
Mm-hmm. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, and also please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's show, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have